So basically, is it fair to say that you had zero interest in pharmacy, or was there a little bit, but you just couldn't see yourself as like a career pharmacist?
I actually had no idea what I wanted to do. I mean, I was the one who in second grade was like, I'm going to be a pediatrician because, your parent, we're Persian, like they're like doctors, like the, praised thing. When my mom suggested pharmacy school for me, she was like, it's a good job for women. When you get pregnant and you have a baby, you can work 2 or 3 days a week. And there was no social media, there was no creativity. I actually wanted to be a news anchor, and they were like, no, that's not going to work. So, and I think at that mentality for Persian parents is like, you have to get a specific degree that's going to make you money. You need to make money. And I didn't know any better. So when I was studying pharmacy, I actually really liked learning about health and wellness, and I was excited. And then as soon as I started working, I hated it. So that was where I had the like, oh God, this isn't for me.
So, I mean, it's interesting how you said, because I remember I was watching one of the interviews and you said pretty much on day one as a pharmacist, you were crying. And
Literally.
before I went to actually business school and I started my entertainment company, I went to physical therapy school. So there was like a doctor of physical therapy school, and I was miserable every single day. And it pained me to break the news to my parents that, hey, your son is not going to become this doctor of physical therapy. I'm sorry. My question to you is, how did you make it through those 6 years of doctorate degree of pharmacy? Was it miserable every single day, or was it a balance? Like sometimes you enjoyed certain aspects of it, and just kind of tell me a little, unpack that for me.
Yeah, so the good thing about my school is that it was a health science school. So like there was no regular college. If I went to USC, I probably would have been like, what am I doing? But everyone was studying all the time. My class was so small. We were all studying the same things. And I actually liked it. Like I mean, I obviously love health and wellness. I think that's when my like interest and passion started developing. And, I was like, I'm going to make $120,000 a year when I graduate. Like I didn't know what anything about life. Like I was so sheltered. So I was just excited to like make this good salary. And I was interested in what I was learning. And to be honest, I still think about things I learned. I actually luckily liked the topics. It just was the job that I didn't like.
Right. So it seems like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you said you like journalism, and then you like parts of pharmacy.
Well,
And
no.
oh, you want
I wanted to be on television.
oh,
I didn't
okay, all
like
right. So you
journalism.
wanted to be in
I just
pharmacy.
wanted to be on, yes, I liked media.
Yeah. So and I think in one of the interviews I watched, you actually there was like a Marky Costello that you kind of went and studied it and kind of got your foot into the door
Yes.
and how did so
Yes.
you had an interest. You did the smart thing, which is learn about it and be acclimated to it, and then you had obviously the foundational aspect, which is the educational. And so it seems like
Yep.
you kind of created the path that you are at now, but probably not knowing it at the time that every little step
Yes.
that you were going through. So kind of tell us about that journey and how, like, when you look back at it now, how is it? How does it feel to be where you are now with having a community of over 2 million people that are, looking up to you to kind of not just provide them with educational and health content, but doing it in a very cool, modern, just technology savvy
Thank
kind of way.
thank you. And thank you for even knowing the Market Costell. That's a great detail. When I started working as a pharmacist and was like, I mean, I cried the first day because I had this gut feeling like I'm stuck. I've got all these student loans. It was more a feeling of like, oh my God, this is life. It was this really deep, profound moment, I swear, where I was like, is this my life now? Like I have 1 week of vacation, like I'm stuck. It was horrible. So I kept job switching different pharmacies, and then it was really like Dr. Oz. I remember seeing him being like, okay, why can't I be that expert? And I actually, because I was in LA, my very first friend was a news anchor on KTLA News. And she was like, you're so cute. You should come on when it's like flu season. You should be the expert. And I was like, can I make this into a career? So this is before Instagram really popped off. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So my first path was like, I need to learn how to host. So that's when I went to Marky Costello, and she was talking about branding before anyone really knew what branding was. So then I learned that. And in the, like, meanwhile, while I was trying to build this website and host, I saw Instagram growing, and I saw this opportunity where I was like, okay, there's these beauty bloggers talking about skincare. Maybe I can talk about it and like have that extra edge. So it ended up working out, my degree, like I do have an interest in what I studied, which I mean, lucky for me, it didn't fully go to waste.
No, definitely not. You wasted nothing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you mentioned branding and like, you have an incredible brand. It's such a clean brand. Again, it caters to a younger, well, I mean, your demographic better, but it's basically to the times. And you obviously have a great team with Julia and Erica on your side, and I'm sure many people behind the scenes that make it all happen. But tell me
Hmm.
about this journey of creating your brand and what type of advice you have for people who it might not be your industry, but maybe your industry, but in general, the whole idea of I got to clean up my brand. I got to clean up the messaging. If you can kind of share a little bit about your experience about building your brand.
It's actually changed. So it's funny because I've been lucky enough to have a lot of really great mentors and people who have been in the industry for years, whether in the music industry or actors and I remember getting advice from some people who were older and kind of seasoned. And there's this one moment where I was doing my first like talk. And I remember posting on, this is like, years ago, I posted, this is my first one. I'm excited. And I remember him being like, don't tell people that. You have to all like fake it till you make it. And that was kind of, but now I actually don't believe in that, where now people crave authenticity. And
For
it's like,
sure.
hey, so I think that the world of media was a lot different then. And that's what I was following at first, was like, I have to present this like specific brand and always look perfect. And I do still believe in like, I like beauty. Like I love beautiful things. I like my content to look beautiful. I like dressing nice. So that's just me authentically. But I think being yourself is really what carries you now. I think that times have changed and it doesn't have to be so like I'm a physical object. I think people just, like your personality more.
And you know what? I think I read or saw somewhere, but this whole white lab coat thing, it's like it just wasn't you, and you're like, I don't want this. And I was looking at a like a six years ago, it was you and Lily Khalichi, and you're
Yes,
you're
I'm wearing it.
yeah, you're like wearing it, and I was like, I can sense that she just does not feel comfortable there. I mean, like it was a great interview, don't get me wrong, but
No,
when I
yes.
compare it to you now, I'm like she's just herself now, and then back then she was trying to figure out who she was. So it was kind of cool looking at your evolution of
Yes.
really not even just your brand, it's just Monovant. So that's cool.
100%. I took the doctor off because I was like, I felt so I always felt like this is the only value I can bring. Like I have like people need to only hear this from me. Whereas like
Yeah.
maybe I didn't feel like I had enough, so like I didn't have enough else to offer as myself.
Yeah.
And I remember even if you Google me, like one of the first, it's like on Yahoo Finance, it's just like the cheesiest photo with this lab coat. And I'm like, oh my God, cringe, cringe. Even at the pharmacy, I couldn't like that. It's just not for me. Like I would wear black yoga pants and like throw on a lab coat with like a hoodie under it. Like I just could not get myself there.